Mike Myers was born in 1963 and grew up in the suburbs of Toronto, a land of donut shops and strip malls that provided the inspiration for Wayne's World.
And later on, monkeys might fly out of my butt.
The youngest of three boys, Myers' father Eric was an encyclopedia salesman. His mother Bunny, a former actress.
Well, my parents were born in Liverpool, England, and I grew up thinking that I was related to the Beatles, because all of my aunts and uncles talked like, "Hello, how are you, Grace? So wonderful, love it." My parents were huge comedy fans, especially SNL and SCTV and Python.
I'd like to have an argument, please.
And Alec Guinness and Peter Sellers.
I am Inspector Clouseau.
People who were funny were sort of like, you know, gods in my house.
Soldiers.
Myers was a child actor, appearing in commercials and on Canadian television, including Range Rider and the Calgary Kid, a children's show that obviously had a limited budget.
Range, I know a way out. Through Forbidden Canyon. Okay, kid, lead the way.
He attended several high schools, eventually transferring to Stephen Leacock for its television production class. While there, Myers appeared in high school television productions. It was a high school experience Myers would later adapt for Wayne's World.
We're not worthy!
It's something I've been doing since I was 12 years old. It was the suburban adolescent North American heavy metal experience as I knew it growing up in the suburbs of Toronto in the mid-'70s.
And in 1989, just 7 years out of high school, he joined the cast of Saturday Night Live as a featured performer.
I've wanted to be on the show since I was 11, so it's kind of a dream come true. Working at Saturday Night Live is, you know, it's like a combination of Das Boot and Fantastic Voyage, because you work all the time, and there's no windows in that studio.
Mike Myers' work on Saturday Night Live made him a star.
He stood out from the pack on Saturday Night Live, and part of it was that he created these very identifiable, sympathetic characters you look forward to seeing week after week.
Many of those characters found their inspiration in Myers' real life.
Sprockets.
There was Sprockets host Dieter, whom Myers says he based on a waiter in Toronto.
Before I begin, would you like to touch my monkey?
I would be honored.
Touch him! Love him! Leave him meine Abschminky!
You would be taking your order, and then it would be like, "Your order has become tiresome." And he would bolt and leave and never come back. And he would, like, you know, I'd say, like, "Yeah, I'd like the BLT." "No." "Well, what do you mean, no? You don't want it." Well, and then I would have to have, like, feta and oregano or something.
There was Linda Richmond, the hostess of Coffee Talk, a character modeled after his own mother-in-law.
Welcome to Coffee Talk. I'm your host, Linda Richmond.
This is Linda Richmond, and I'm Mike's mother-in-law. And
Wait a minute. You are the mother-in-law of Mike.
You got it.
Linda Richmond, it is. It's my actual mother-in-law.
He's a goyish mensch. That's what he is.
You married a Jewish girl.
I did, yes.
How do you like having a character based on you?
Oh, I absolutely love it. It's just like butter.
Are you a little verklempt right now?
How many other people could have taken Yiddish phrases and made them standard American vocabulary?
I'm a little verklempt.
You're verklempt! Who hasn't described themselves as feeling a little verklempt?
Myers' biggest breakout character, however, was Wayne Campbell, the party-loving host of a cable access television show, Wayne's World.
This is Stan Mikita's Donuts. Excellent Munchables.
One of their major hangouts is the Stan Mikita Donut Shop. Right around the corner from where Mike grew up and we all grew up was Tim Hortons, who's a Canadian hockey legend. But we're just at home going, oh yeah, that's our neighborhood.
Myers quickly found himself in Hollywood, turning the sketch into a full-length movie.
It's Wayne's World! Wayne's World! Party time! Excellent!
The Wayne's World film became an enormous hit, grossing over $200 million.
Most of the Saturday Night Live films, and I have seen just about all of them, you really, after about 20 minutes, go, okay, there's no more to this. And with Wayne's World, you were happy. You were happy to see what their next adventure was.
Its catchphrases
No way! Way?
caught on nationwide. Myers was a full-fledged celebrity, if a quiet one.
Unlike the other characters on Saturday Night Live, he's maintained a nice, quiet personality. During the years when he was filming in New York, you never read about him being out at a club at 4 or 5 in the morning. Almost every other cast member on the show, you'd read about that.
But while Myers' professional life was thriving, personally, he was hurting. His father, Eric, had been diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease in 1987.
He came and saw me at Second City, and he would heckle the people on stage. Like, if I wasn't in a scene, you know, he'd go, "Oh, get off the stage, you're rubbish, bring Michael on, he's the only funny one." And I had to, like, explain to the whole cast that, you know, my dad has Alzheimer's, and he's going to shout stuff out, and they were very, very cool about it. My career was doing very, very well, and his health was deteriorating.
Eric Myers died in November 1991.
I think I do miss being able to report, check in, make real, you know.
By 1994, Mike Myers had lost his father, made several movies in rapid succession, and needed a break. He quit Saturday Night Live after 6 years on the show, and for a year and a half, dropped out of the public eye. Instead of making movies, he visited family and spent time with his wife Robin, whom he'd married in 1993. Instead of power lunches, he took power skating lessons to improve his hockey game. And along the way came an idea for a new character.
I wrote Austin Powers because I was driving home from hockey practice and I heard The Look of Love on the radio. And just all of that sort of great sort of spy stuff and, you know, Ursula Andress and all the sexy stuff. And I wrote a song for it, and I'm going to sing it for you right now.
Myers wrote the script for Austin Powers in just 3 weeks, and in 1997, his lost-in-time secret agent shot his way into theaters.
That's not your mother, it's a man, baby!
The movie was just a moderate hit at the box office, but would develop a cult-like following.
What happened is the first Austin Powers film comes out on video. People start seeing it. They start telling all their friends, "You gotta rent this, you gotta rent this." Movie turned into a huge video hit.
In 1999, Myers slipped back into his false teeth and shagadelic suits for Austin Powers 2.
Do you swing?
Are you kidding, baby? I put the gun in swinger, baby!
The sequel was a box office blockbuster, making more money in its first weekend than the original did in its entire theatrical run.
Yeah, baby, yeah!
For Myers, the experience of making the Austin Powers films was
Groovy, baby. Yeah.
It's like a 2-month party. I had the most fun I've ever had in my life. I was very sad on the last day. It's kind of like the last day of camp or something.
No! Stop to it!
Myers' next role wasn't even on camera, but provided him with yet another runaway hit, the animated fairy tale, Shrek.
That'll do, Donkey. That'll do.
Myers originally voiced the character with a Canadian accent, then switched to Scottish when he felt it wasn't working.
Like, you watch it, and then you redo it, and they redo it to what you just did. It's an amazing back and forth. Very inspiring. I ended up really loving how long it took and how much time you get, the luxury of being able to sculpt it and shade it and do all that stuff.
So you're the...
The latest Austin Powers installment raked in big bucks at the box office, grossing more than $213 million. In this film, Myers added yet another character to his ever-growing stable, the Dutch swinger, Goldmember. But he also gave Austin Powers a father, played by Michael Caine, one of his father's favorite actors.
If you've got an issue, here's a tissue.
He was a hero to my father because he had a working-class accent. Like my father had a working-class accent. He's one of the first movie stars to talk like how people talk, you know, in England.
Mike's whole youth was watching movies with his dad, and in a way, this movie is a tribute to his connection to his own father. Michael Caine wanted to wear the teeth, and he wanted to do the whole thing in the crazy clothes, and they came together, and I saw this thing in Mike's face, and I went, oh, that's why he's doing this. There was so much emotion and so much joy.
Oh, I think he would love it. If my dad were to write a book, it would be called In Praise of Silly.
A sentiment Mike Myers has built his career on.
Yeah, baby, yeah!